And it appears we are live on a Sunday. We'll call this another Pontoon Yacks or Tactical Pontoon Yacks. Basically, I'm just kind of coming around. It's the end of the week. It's a little bit earlier than some of my original, streaming times. But again, like I said, I don't exactly have a schedule for these currently. I'm trying to get back into streaming, and right now works for me. Got about 35, 45 minutes or so. So I'm going to jump on here, kind of talk to you guys. If you guys have any questions, kind of old school like we used to do, where if somebody had a trigger question, because I don't really have a per se, planned topic. So we're just going to kind of talk about different things. And if you guys have something, bring it up. So here we are on a Sunday. I hope everybody's had a good week and a good weekend. I know my week has been busy. This coming week is going to be a little bit insane. I'll probably be away from the shop from Tuesday to Thursday, maybe less, maybe more, but I'll be catching up. So I'll be a little bit behind, but I will be catching up here shortly as this week takes off. We got some family stuff I got to get taken care of, and I'll be out of town. But obviously, the website will still be available. And if you guys haven't here recently taken a look at the website, hey Dave, how we doing? Hey, that's what you got to do. Busy week, you got to keep pushing through. That's what I try to do. It's not always easy. There's always a lot of different things that come up, whether it's things that you have planned or unexpected things, which just throw the entire scope of the week out of whack, which seems to be kind of my life in the last, well, pretty much forever. Let's just put it that way, pretty much forever. So I guess I don't know what a plan is. So as it is, here we are. Has anybody seen the latest in the SIG fiasco that's been going on? Definitely curious as to now we have it coming out that this may have been an yeah, I want to talk about that too. But an ND, a negligent discharge on the behalf. I haven't read completely through it. I just saw that come up, and with everything else I've been doing, I'm like, oh, here we go. Is this a cover up from SIG, or was this actually somebody trying to, cover up something with a negligent just discharge by something, by a current event? Interesting thing. I think it already kind of lit the fire on something that was already coming down the wire. So I am curious to see how this plays out. That's definitely took a turn that we all should have seen coming, maybe, or maybe not. There's something wrong or something up with the 320, and then obviously M17, M18 design. And that definitely pushed it through. And just as Dave mentioned, I saw it on Instagram. The Glock store put up a post that all of the COA Glock models, which were a factory issued Glock with an aim point optic, its own variation of an aim point optic, and footprint. Something I was actually interested in maybe taking a look at one of those here before too long. All of these COAs are basically the ones that are out there right now. That's all that the market's going to see for possibly a couple of years, as basically the government, military, are picking up the COA. Basically, all of Glock's manufacturing of the COA is going towards government contracts. We'll put it that way. So makes you wonder, is the Glock 19 and 19X and 45, is that the new sidearm for the military, or are they getting ahead of things and picking these up so that they can issue them at least temporary, or let's be honest, our government loves to spend some money, so they may never actually be used. They may actually end up in a crate somewhere, and 30 years later we find that, you know, they're for sale. So it could happen. I mean, I personally, one of the aircraft parts that I worked on, we did new builds for ailerons for, or not ailerons, they were elevators for an aircraft that we were doing new builds. These were brand new. So all up in the jig, drilled new holes, new metal. These were new parts kits that we then assembled, and they got painted and shipped off. Well, as that contract started, and this was like a 1.5-year contract, and I think we built like, let's say like 30 or 40 of these things. Can't remember. It's been almost 10 years ago now. This bird was mothballed, not like as that contract started, I was, you know, I pay attention to the, especially if I'm working on a certain aircraft. That aircraft was basically retired from its final wing that it was serving. It was gone. It's still, to this day, they're retired. Those brand new stabilators are somewhere brand new, built in a crate somewhere. They will never actually have a purpose, because this was a military aircraft that never had a civilian purpose. Okay. So maybe someday there'll be one or two of them will be in a museum. They're beautiful, like brand new, very beautiful, obviously not cheap, and they're sitting in a crate somewhere. So it's very possible one of these Glock COAs, or most of these Glock COAs, could literally sit in a crate somewhere for years as they just kind of jump the gun and get a hold of an alternate, just in case this M18, M17 thing goes awry. We will see. Honestly, I don't know. I have no inside information, and I really don't know where it's going to go. I'm just interested to see. So we will we'll watch it play out. I'm just gonna kind of sit back and maybe laugh a little bit. But on the, you know, on another note, I'll go back to kind of where I was going with the website. If you have not been there recently, go check it out. I have added an FAQ section. I have updated and actually added the blog section to the front page, so it's easier to get a hold of. I'm working on updating that as we go. And wow, that's a person who hasn't called me in forever. I'll have to get back with him soon. Donahue Dynamics. Wow. I will, chance, if you're watching, which you probably aren't, I'll have to get back to you soon. So the website, I've been updating and working on some of the descriptions. The blog section, I am adding new articles, putting some together, trying to go through some of the more popular items and just streamline it so it's easier to read. As kind of a detailed person, some of the descriptions were just kind of drug on and just didn't flow very well. Didn't look very good on a mobile phone. So again, I'm working on different things with that. There's a couple different variations of a format that I'm going with, and I'm still deciding which way I want to go. So if you haven't, check the website out. I am changing things up. I am also going to be changing and maybe getting rid of a couple different different systems. One, just to streamline the website, and two, it's not that they don't sell very well. It's just they don't sell a whole bunch of them. And in order to keep things moving, sometimes you got to cull a couple of them out. That doesn't mean that they're completely unavailable. If I if I accidentally get rid of one of your favorite trigger systems, get with me. Maybe it's something I can fit into the schedule and do like a special invoice for. However, not the excommunicado. The excommunicado is now the Heisenberg systems. The excommunicado shoe is no longer available. Not in its previous iteration. There is a variation, I think. I haven't even looked at that. That is out there with roll pins. So it's no longer on my plate. There's the Peacemaker trigger shoes, and they are pretty damn awesome. Setting them side by side, if I was going to rely on one, the Peacemaker trigger shoe is far and above superior. Plain and simple. Yes, the excommunicado had that skeletonized look, and trust me, for years we went and rocked and rolled with it. It's still a good design, but Peacemaker's superior. There's a reason why I transitioned to the Peacemaker before the excommunicado was no longer an option, because it was a superior design. And then, we did the Gunco SS, and then the Peacemaker is a variation of that with a couple touches that I chose to make it a little bit better. So that's what we got with that. Obviously, we've got the Atom trigger shoes that are also available on a variety of different systems. The Viper competition series, that trigger system has truly found its place. I was kind of afraid to get rid of the Leonidas, even though the Viper is a far superior system. Just letting go of the Leonidas really was kind of scary, but Viper is truly a better system. So that's what we got with that. To kind of go around with some of the different updates to the website, I am creating, for those of you who have picked up at least 5 trigger systems or more, there are a couple of you guys out there that are beyond double digits, or not beyond double digits, but are double digits with over just a 1 in front of it. But I'm starting, and this is the first iteration of that, is there will be custom stickers that I'm trying for once a month to do a custom sticker just for you guys that are in, I might call it the Department of Trigger Efficiency, or I might give you guys a little bit of a different name, but I've already sent out the first stickers. I've got a couple guys still to get in on this. And basically what it is, I will be creating either a special section of the website for you guys, those of you who have 5+ trigger systems, or maybe it will be a secondary website. Maybe we'll do something on Patreon, something in order to recognize those who have, kind of joined the inner circle, who have helped, create and keep Tactical Pontoon going, give you guys something special. Like I said, special stickers. The other thing that is going to be an option, there will be some limited edition drops that are not available to anybody else. They will only be for those limited few who have, who've stepped up. Now, that doesn't mean that all of the limited editions will be, taken off of the website. I'm still going to do limited editions for everybody else, but there will be limited drops that are just for you guys that are in the club, the extra club, shall we say, because the reality of it is anybody who picks up a Tactical Pontoon trigger system is kind of already joined something pretty unique, because you have access to get a hold of me directly, the person that designed and tuned your trigger system. You get a chance to get a hold of me, whether it's through one of these streams, email, message me, that sort of thing. You already have access to me, something that you don't have with these other larger brands and triggers. You're also choosing something that is custom designed. Each and every system, I didn't just throw parts out there, generic parts that basically the rest of the trigger companies have done, because you can pretty much pick up any trigger off the shelf right now, and they basically have the same parts, except for they have a different trigger shoe. And that's not what I'm about. And that's never what Tactical Pontoon has been about. That's why for the longest of time, I would not do a basic drop-in system. I did not want to be the run of the mill. And it wasn't until I started working with the Dagger groups and just basically heading out on my own that I realized, hey, let's do an, I wouldn't call it entry level, because it's already, well, entry level for Tactical Pontoon. Entry level of Tactical Pontoon that stood above everything else out there. And that's where the Peacemaker drop-in systems came from. I used parts and my know-how that just isn't from my custom Heisenberg, Excommunicado, Viper, Leonidas systems. I funneled that down into what is the quickest, most efficient way to get an awesome trigger system without all of the bells and whistles, but still be a premium experience. And that's where the Peacemaker trigger systems came in. And then, of course, when we added the Atom trigger shoes on, you've got the Atom EDC. So that's where the mindset behind those is. Tactical Pontoon isn't just for everybody. So by choosing Tactical Pontoon, it's kind of a club in and of itself. So I'm not leaving anybody out, and I truly do take my time to answer as many questions as possible, whether it's through Messenger, email, Facebook groups, Instagram, because the reality is that's one of the things that sets me apart is I'm out there talking to you guys, getting an idea of what you guys want, what you guys need, and how I can better serve you. And, it's the least I can do. It's the least I can do. And then stepping up to, say, a Heisenberg, where you have next level action. You've got the shortest reset out there. Obviously, with the Peacemaker trigger shoe, there's not an Atom option on the website. Maybe eventually we'll do an Atom option on the website, but right now it's just not as big of a thing to me. The Peacemaker is that trigger shoe is the heart of the Tactical Pontoon system, if you will. I'm really proud of that. The Atom, I love the Atom trigger shoe, but the Peacemaker is beyond my, part of my heart. Atom EDC Extreme for my CRXP. Yes. Okay, Bob. That is an excellent option. The Extreme Carry, which is my systems for the slim lines, that is one that took me a while to really get behind, because initially when I first started doing all of the different things that I do for Glock triggers, it was all the double stacks, G19, Glock 17, Gen 5 hadn't even, hit the hit the deck yet. And so I didn't really play with the Glock 43. So I was still really digging into the Glock 17. And then the Glock 43X hit the market, and it was time for me to really look into what I could do for the Slimline series. So I finally really started playing with them. I looked at what connectors were already available, which I've always found connectors to be like the place everybody starts, but it's not really where all the secret or the magic is. And I played with connectors. I played with a variety of different springs. I did, your basic polish to the trigger bar and that sort of thing. And I'm like, there is something, while everything is, shoved into kind of a smaller space, and then it was the precursor to what is now the Generation 5 trigger spring. Like, okay, well, this is a little bit different, but there was really some major geometry change that needed to happen, because you would get a very hard break, and not near as hard as the Shadow System CR breaks, but it was most of the time it was a very clean break, but it was extremely heavy, and then the reset on those was just insane. So I played with a variety of things, and it really wasn't, it took me a good 6 months to kind of come up with, and it was kind of an accident, to be completely honest. I had made a mistake when I was doing something, and I was like, okay, well, let's just try this. Let's see if this works. Because I looked at the mistake and I'm like, so I put it in there, put it in the Glock 43, and I was on to something, and which led me to where I am now with the Extreme Carry or the Extreme EDC with the Adams, which then led into the CR 920, which, my goodness, the first time I played with one of those, I could not believe how bad the trigger was that left the factory. So yeah, Slimlines have been one of my, I'm most proud of the Slimline triggers, because out of all of the other options out there for the Slimlines, Tactical Pontoon has it covered. I mean, that's my opinion, but yeah, compared to all the rest, I am extremely proud of my Glock 43X and all those other triggers for the Slimlines, because to go from where it was and how much I hated those to where I really love them now, it blows me away. So overall, I'm very proud of those. They do take a lot of work in order to get them to where they are from starting out pretty crappy. It does take a lot of work. I put as much time into geometry changes with the Slimline, the Extreme Carry, and the Atom Extreme EDC that I do with like the Viper systems. Like it is truly a lot of work to get one of those rocking and rolling up to my standards. So Bob, I hope you enjoy it. Should be relatively soon. You should see a shipping notification. It could go to your spam box. I will say here lately, when it comes to notifications for your purchase or shipping, they've been going to spam. Even probably my newsletters that are sending out, they've either gone to spam, or sometimes I know in Google there's a promotions tab that's up. Sometimes it goes in there. So that's part of the fun of online shopping, I guess, or owning an online business, if you will, just trying to reach out to everybody. I've noticed Instagram has a new thing. Instagram doesn't look like Instagram anymore. It seems like the headers are gone. It's all videos again. It seems like pictures have taken the back seat. Social media, that you can make the greatest thing in the entire world, but if nobody knows about it, what good is it? And so part of Tactical Pontoon has always been trying to reach out and say, hey, we're here. We built something awesome. Not saying I want to be in every store, I want to be in Walmart or anything like that. Nowhere near that. I've actually turned down, decent sized contracts to get bigger per se, because that's not really what I want to do. The idea with Tactical Pontoon is to stay a custom shop, to stay something that has meaning to it, instead of just becoming some cutting corners where all we're looking at is margins. That's not That's not me. I am, I'm a ratty operation that turns out something awesome. That's my plan. That's kind of what I want to stick to. And just becoming the Walmart of Glock triggers is nowhere on my radar. I don't have it in me to be that. It's just not where I'm going. That being said, I do have room to grow. There's still room to grow. There's places to go. And I really still need to grow in order to build things that I want to build for Tactical Pontoon. New options, new trigger shoes, new trigger systems, because there's still some stuff to be worked out with the Glock trigger system to be able to offer it in larger quantities than just building something special for myself. Justin, hey Justin, how we doing? Turning down contracts. Yeah, that's a scary one. I'll be honest with you. It's definitely scary because the thing about owning your own business is you may have a good day. You may have a really good day and you can sell, people are like, oh man, you should celebrate that. But you're like, yeah, but there's tomorrow. I still have tomorrow to do. Like there's always that next day. None of it is guaranteed. It's not like I can just go swipe punch a punch a clock. Now, granted, I come in and I punch the clock, but it doesn't guarantee a paycheck per se. You got to get out there and work. And so between building trigger systems and then building outreach and growth of talking to different people, navigating all the different social media websites that I do navigate. There are some that I just don't mess with. Reddit is one that I just am not on. It's not for me. just not a big Reddit fan at all. Facebook, yeah, it's the boomer, if you will, the boomer platform, but I still find some good places in there. But even then, here lately, I have noticed the traffic to traditionally larger groups that I'm in are actually pretty slow. So I'm sure there's some stuff going on behind the background there. I have been working on the Facebook, the Tactical Pontoon Facebook page. I've actually been going on there, spending some time, putting some posts up. I have neglected that for the longest of time, but my goal is to not neglect that. So if you're not on the Tactical Pontoon, there's two. Unfortunately, long ago, I made two. I need to get rid of one. I may just keep them both. But there's Tactical Pontoon Triggers. That's kind of like the backup one. And then there's Tactical Pontoon. That's the main one. That's where most of my focus is on. If you're not on there, go give it a like. I try to post some stuff to maybe you guys post a picture of your build or something, reviews, that sort of thing. That said as well, if you haven't left a review on the website for whatever you've purchased, maybe, and I'm asking you guys this, it's not something you have to do. I'm just kind of asking. If you get a chance, help me out as I grow, because all of this stuff helps. Just go over and leave a quick review, or maybe if you're in a gun group on Facebook or even Reddit, maybe you guys could be the warriors for Reddit for me. It's not my place. To just say, hey, running a Tactical Pontoon, something simple, show some stickers off. You don't have to, but anything helps. Pardon me, Bob. As for X, Twitter, I've thought about getting back on Twitter. I was on Twitter back when it first started, when people, the joke was, and the reality was, you were taking pictures of your meal and showing that off. So back in, what was that, like 2006, 2007, I was on Twitter. I actually saw the potential at the time. I was running a small car forum, go figure. And what I would do I had a bunch of the members. We were very small. I think we had maybe 20 members, and then like maybe 60 total. 20 were somewhat active, and people that I'd kind of taken from other cars, from other car forums that were bigger. And what I would do is, if there was an interesting post, I would post that on Twitter with a link back to the forum. So I was actually using Twitter for exactly what I need to do today, way back then. I just kind of got bored with the whole Twitter thing. But maybe again. X has definitely changed quite a bit in the last couple of years since Elon Musk bought it out. Maybe you could see a Tactical Pontoon X. It could happen. I think part of in the last year or so, I was just so busy running and building the business, building triggers, that I didn't spend the time on as much time on the social media aspect, because I just didn't have the mental capacity. And now having a helper who can help me build the triggers, like the drop-ins, I've got a little bit more time. That's why you're seeing work on the website. That's why you're seeing me being able to get back on Facebook and play with Instagram and do a couple different things. Instagram is actually, I would say, where Tactical Pontoon has really made a foothold. But the other part of it is Tactical Pontoon started out on YouTube. This was never originally a trigger building idea. My goal with Tactical Pontoon was to just kind of do product reviews, believe it or not. And after buying several triggers for my Glock, I wasn't happy with all the different parts and pieces that I bought. I wasn't happy with it. And next thing I know, I'm building triggers instead of being a product reviewer, which is actually ultimately better, because I probably would have quit that sooner than later. That's a different business than what I do. It was kind of fun. The idea was fun, but the guys that do it professionally and who have made a career out of it, that's a lot of work that's just not for me. I enjoy Honest Outlaw, an old Honest Outlaw review. Yes, I haven't talked to him in a while. Once he got to a certain point in size, as they all do, because most of the YouTube reviews that I had done are probably a good 5 or 6 years old or more by this point. And a lot of those guys were a lot smaller. And so they were hungrier, if you will. And they were guys that I legitimately watched. So I reached out to them. And yeah, Chris at Honest Outlaw Reviews. I've got his personal Facebook and that sort of thing. I have probably his number. Like I said, they get to a certain size, and unless you're, offering something other than just something to try out, I really don't want to talk to you near as much. And they also get busy. I completely get it. There are some that have rubbed me the wrong way, but yeah, YouTube has definitely been good for Tactical Pontoon. Maybe again, because I don't watch near as many gun channels as I used to, so I don't know who like the new guys are, or the up and comers who have, kind of I guess you call it a secret, or my recipe for success, if you will, that I've found out from failing and succeeding, is once a YouTuber gets about 200,000+ subscribers and they're constantly busy, constantly doing uploads, you're going to have to add something to the pot to make it worth their time. They're not quite in that full hungry phase. And I could be full of shit. I could be wrong, but I'm just telling you kind of what what I've seen in my time dealing with YouTubers. 75,000 to about 105, 100, call it 150,000. That's probably peak for they're still hungry, they're still building, and they're willing to take somebody on. And then on the other side of it, you're going to probably get more exposure long term and really get the most bang for your buck, if you will, by allowing them to test something of yours. And make sure it's good. Make sure it's good. Not that I've had any problems with something being bad. I build cool shit, but I just to warn you, like, we all enjoy the ones where they tear something apart. Don't let that be yours if you're sending them something, and value their time. Value their time just as they should value your time. Where it gets kind of crazy is under 50,000 down to 100. It's kind of a rat race. You could have good experiences, you can have bad experiences. Guys that have 10 subscribers could put out an amazing video, but they may not. You got to go and look at their profile and kind of get an idea of what they're actually putting out. I can tell you, it's some of it. They can promise the world in their message or their email, and you're just not going to get it. Hey, we all got to start somewhere, and it is a job per se. It is something you have to have fun with, and it is work. It is definitely work. So those guys that make it and those guys that put out really cool content, hey, my hat's off to you, because it's a lot of work. Rumble, I am on Rumble. I used to, until I got lazy and busy. I used to actually dual stream on Rumble as well. I need to again. So it's something I'll get back to as I get back into doing these streams and videos alone. Yeah, Rumble, you're allowed to show more, and Rumble is really good for. My plan is for maybe a little bit more detailed information to go on Rumble when it comes to like actually assembling things. For the longest of time, I stayed away from doing any sort of assembly between having time to do so and then YouTube's policies. Just stayed away from that. And I still kind of stay away from that today. The other thing is there are so many videos of disassembling a Glock and reassembling a Glock, good ones, bad ones, and everywhere in between, that I kind of like, you know what? There is a certain point where you kind of got to take some responsibility into making sure you do it right. But maybe eventually, if I fully have time, we'll do some more intricate videos on Rumble. No guarantees on that, because time still plays into that, and doing a good detailed video, I just kind of suck. Like I enjoy making videos. I enjoy taking pictures more than videos. So maybe we'll do something where it's actually frame by frame. I don't know. Maybe we'll see, especially if it's something that really, really deserves that. But kind of going back to the rat race of YouTube, because I got off on that tangent. I actually kind of enjoy that tangent. Is if you are a YouTuber getting started, and like I said, from 0 to 50,000, and that's kind of where you're going to learn a lot, is value the person's time that you're reaching out to. Now, granted, I reached out to people to show them what I built, and I have a large influx of people that reach out to me to test my product, test my triggers or whatever. And the one thing that I would like to get out there is value the time of the person that you're reaching out to. And what I mean by that is go to their website, or their social media, go to both and get an idea of who that company is. Okay? Know their product. Know a couple of their products, especially if it's one that you're interested in. Okay? And if you're a small YouTuber under, let's say, 10,000 subscribers, don't ask for their top of the line thing. Really don't. Maybe you're worth it. And if you are, and you've got the guts to do it, go for it, ask for it, but value their time and show them some true value when you go to email or message them. Let them know you're not expecting anything. You would just like to work with them. Mention the product. Go through a couple things that you've noticed on there. Whether they maybe go watch reviews that other people have done for them, maybe go watch their videos that they might have on their YouTube or on their social media. Get an idea of that company, because again, this is work. And if you're going to be an influencer or a reviewer, that is your work. So do your work before you go and ask somebody for something for free or maybe a discount. Don't leave things in the air. I'd really like to work with you. And then, I get some of those. Well, I'd really like to work with you. And they send me this long paragraph it's full of bullcrap. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that'd be great. I'll build you one. And I send them a link to the website because they didn't lay out anything except for they wanted to work with me. Okay, that'd be great. Go buy one. So anyways, tangent aside, I do enjoy working with small channels more so than the larger channels in the past. I do actually, for example, Desert Tactical Dave, just Desert Tactical on here. I know him as Dave. He's a good man, has a good channel. I know he's been busy, but I love to see that channel get back up and going. I enjoy working with small channels because there is a certain nose to the grindstone. They may not have the highest production values, but they're working and they're working hard, and they are going to tell you the truth. They're going to tell you if something is up or if they had any issues. They're going to, and then they're going to work with that company to make sure that maybe there was something that was overlooked. Who knows? But you're going to get a better overall quality. It may not look as good. The sound may not be as good, but the information, much better on smaller channels. Excuse me. There's a mute button. I need to learn to start using the mute button, but I build triggers. Not very good on videos, to be honest with you. These are very amateur. They always will be. As much as I'd like the production value to be as good as some other people's, they're amateur at best. I saw Trigger Tech's got some overly complicated stuff again that they're pushing for the Glock market. Not entirely. Maybe I'll look at one. It looks, again, if it's a competition gun that is only for competition, or a range toy, just like the FRT, these force reset triggers, go for it, enjoy. But if you really want to rely on something, there's a reason why the Glock trigger system, even modified, works really good. So I will look closer at these Trigger Tech things, but honestly, and maybe it is. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe not. We'll see. But I'll look at them closer. I'll probably pick one up or go look at one at a gun show booth or something. But I'll look into it and I'll give you a thumbs up or the thumbs down on it. Truly, maybe build something. If I truly love it, I'll build something around it to, make it even better. Or I'll tell you, hey, this is the way to go for this aspect. It was like when the Timney came out. I personally I had too many issues with the Timney trigger system when it first came out. I remember reading about it. I remember seeing videos, hearing how light it was, that sort of thing. I got a hold of one of them, and I had far too many issues with that, like in some of my test guns, that I just could not put my name around even building one better or adding to it. It just wasn't for me, and I've stuck to that to this day. Even with the upgrades that they have made in the design, I don't trust them. I do not like them. Last weekend, kind of got to have it. Hey, yeah, AR platform, hey, ARs are fun. I would rather, if I was going to do full auto or forced reset in an AR, far more controllable. I'm okay. I enjoy shooting multiple round bursts. I do. I've been to different gun range. I've done it suppress. It's cool. I don't have, it's cool. I've got nothing wrong with that. I'm for it. Even I would love to have a Glock 18 just to go out there and shoot, shoot off downrange and have fun with it. The FRT triggers for Glocks. Yes, I could work on that. I've been asked by several people that are 3D printing these FRTs to do a trigger shoe for them to help them. It's not for, I enjoy money. I would love to have the money, but it's not in my wheelhouse again. A fully cocked striker, honestly, I'm not terribly concerned so much about a fully cocked striker when you have the safety plunger, that setup. Really, that part of it doesn't concern me as long as everything else is done right. You got to remember that is an entire system around, aside from a fully cocked striker, you've got the safety plunger, you've got the trigger or transfer bar. All of that sort of thing has to play really nicely together. The Timney design, my biggest gripe, if you will, isn't the fully cocked striker, because when you look at the GPT trigger, the Glock performance trigger, I actually like that design. My gripes from a mechanical standpoint with the Timney is their choice of trigger return spring. Very poor choice. They've done multiple variations. I know the aftermarket has their variation. It's an unfortunate design because they had to cram that sear assembly into the trigger block housing. So I know why they did it. I'm just not a fan of that. The other thing is, with that design and how small their sear chassis is, there's no way, without shimming it or adding extra pieces that I've seen people do to overcome this, is there's no way to adjust for cruciform, or not cruciform because there is no cruciform, but sear to striker lug engagement. Some builds, some frames are very bad about their fitment, especially when you get some cheaper slides. It just becomes quite a mess, and so I do not recommend that design. The GPT actually had, now granted, there isn't there's no way to adjust the sear engagement, but the way they have designed it, there's actually more from the start, and there's a little bit of room to play if you want to get the most out of it. And then, of course, the trigger return spring on the GPT is far and away a better design. I'll see. You feel agreed. Full auto is fun if somebody else buys the ammo and loads the mags. I hear you, Scott. And it wouldn't even entertain it if it didn't have switch for semi-auto. Yeah, and then that's the other thing about FRTs or the binaries for Glocks. The only one that has any sort of switch is the Franklin Armory version, which comes with its entire, with an entire Glock slide, and I think it's like $600. So it's not cheap, but it is the safest option for a binary fire. FRT, pretty much everybody's putting out either 3D printed, or I saw one metal trigger that looked like it was made out of soda cans that they put in like a like a sand mold or something. Very, very rough. I'm sure other variations will be out there. I was asked if I could make something work, but again, it's not in my wheelhouse, especially should politically some tides change. I'm just a little one-man show. Well, 1.5. Got a helper now that does not have the resources to fight a fight like that. If you're going to 3D print them, I'm all for it. If you're going to sell the 3D printed ones, that's up to you. But again, that's really not where I come in. Tactical Pontoon, I'm here for serious builds, something you can rely on. And then also, if you have an art piece, if you have something that's beautiful and you want a beautiful trigger that has the best action behind it, that's where Tactical Pontoon comes in. Reliable, high end, very few of them. That's Tactical Pontoon. It's not gimmicks. It's not Walmart brand crap. It's not the lowest, the lowest and the cheapest. Yeah, occasionally I run sales. Speaking of that, right now the Peacemaker 4.0 is on sale right now, at least till the end of the month. I'm giving you guys kind of like an end of summer type deal. I know I've kind of transitioned to that, and just reminded me until the end of summer to grab the Peacemaker. You've sent the kids to school. Now it's time to build a gun. Build your Glock up or build a new Glock. And the Peacemaker is on sale right now, at least for the rest of the month. And this kind of thing. So Peacemaker is the bomb. I like how you did that, because the Peacemaker is the bomb. This sticker is one of my favorites. I need to do another run where it's got a little, I don't know if you guys can read this, but it's got a little label over me that says, "Hello, we're trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty." This was a fun sticker. Got a lot of fun stickers. More to come. Obviously, a lot more to come. But I think for today, I'm going to call that good. If you guys have any other questions, you can reach me on the different social medias. If you have trigger questions, again, shoot me an email, tacticalpontoon@gmail.com. If you have my phone number, don't call me, especially if you can text it. Text is far better than voice calls. Just saying. But yeah, that is it for this Sunday. I'm going to jump off here. I still have things to do, and this week is going to be quite busy. But I will be around. If you shoot me an email and I don't get back to it relatively soon, it's probably because I'm driving, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. All right, guys, I'll catch you on the next one. Later.